dip after the company's latest earnings report. It showed some sales sagging, especially in the Far East. Then there are the questions from upstart companies like Hoka and On Holdings, who may be taking some significant share away from Nike. Vijay Marolia is founder and chief investment officer at Regal Point Capital. Joins us to take a look at Nike right now. Vijay, great to talk to you again. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning to you, Dan.
What was your thoughts on the earnings report from Nike?
Well, I got to tell you, your intro was fantastic because I think you kind of hit a lot of the most important things right on the head. But, starting with the fundamentals, the revenue, right? All businesses, you got to start with the revenue, and that's where the missed expectations were. And the reason why that's important, even though they still made more money, but that is dependent on the margins, right? And there's only so much fat you can cut before you hit bone. So although the company is very profitable, I think you also mentioned that competition is heating up. And really, it's a question of, like you put it, they're losing market share to the new competitors. And it's really going to be about protecting their brand. And I think that the way to do that is through innovation. And a lot of the people that I've been discussing the stock with, that really seems to be the main issue, is a lack of innovation.
Specifically where? Because, I mean, look, you change the design of a shoe, you change, certain aspects to it. But in many cases, if you're a long distance runner and you like to run, a couple of days a week, you're going to want to have a certain type of shoe. If you're more casual, you may run wear something that's a little bit less. Obviously, they have all kinds of different sports shoes as well. How does the component of innovation factor into a company like Nike?
You make a great point, Dan, once again. So if you think about their business from a performance standpoint, so that would be the running shoe, that would be the basketball, and then the lifestyle brand, the issue is in the lifestyle brand. And that really takes understanding the real micro aspects of the culture of society to figure out, for lack of a better word, what is cool, right? What's hot? What's new, right? And until and unless you have someone that can really understand that. So I heard some rumors about they need to bring on more staff, specifically those that have a better understanding of what's going to be able to sell. But the performance business is fine. It's really the lifestyle business that's having some issues.
And I guess they're also having some issues in the Far East with in and around China. We know how important that marketplace. Yeah, that marketplace is big for a lot of companies. Nike's one of them.
Exactly. And that makes a significant impact on growth, especially if that was one of your strongest growth segments prior to. And so hopefully this is temporary, but it did scare the daylights out of the stock market. And, of course, the stock is now still further down, trading at 52-week lows. So, this is one of the hard parts about being a value investor, is because it's like trying to catch a falling knife, right? So it's very dangerous to get hurt. And so you really need to understand, in my opinion, what's my holding period? What's my time frame? And until and unless you're looking at a long-term horizon, it's really dangerous to mess around at a 52-week low.
Is Nike also feeling a little bit of a pinch from the consumer here in the U.S., being a little bit tighter on the wallet? Inflation, even though it's come down, is still having an impact right now?
It's hard to see how it couldn't, but a lot of people are not really discussing it, and they didn't really mention it either. I think the U.S. consumer is still somewhat strong in terms of at least the absolute dollars spent, but the quality of those dollars that are being spent are lower because people are borrowing more in order to consume. I read a recent article. Summer vacations cost, I think, like $2,000 a week now, and a third of consumers said that they're going to go into debt in order to pay for their summer vacation. So that's not a good trend.
We're joined by Vijay Marolia, who is the founder and chief investment officer at Regal Point Capital. One of the other things that I saw in their report was talking about maybe some sagging in the legacy brand sales. that tells me that I guess you have to focus on the Jordan brand, which has been just an unbelievable strength for Nike for many, many years right now. I'd be surprised if you saw a significant decline, but I guess you have to look at every component of the operation.
Absolutely, and the buzz is that the second half of the year they're going to be introducing new product that should be a lot more helpful. And so, I think that if you're a long-term investor, it's a stock to keep your eye on because there's so much value in that brand, and it's not like they're losing money, right? It's really just missed expectations. It's the reason why they teach you you want to under promise and over deliver, and they kind of did the opposite here.
So Nike's still the big player in the sportswear industry. It's just you've got more players out there that are starting to draw attention to one another.
Right, and one of the questions that I was trying to ask myself is, but what about the in society? Are we becoming more athletic, or are we becoming less so? Right? Are we becoming healthier, more active, or are we just sitting in front of our screens all day? And I don't know the answer to that, but I wonder if that has some sort of effect, right? And that's why I think it's so important for them to grow internationally, as they have done, as they will continue to do. But domestically, when you make it okay to gain a lot of weight, I don't think that that's the proper messaging in terms of health or wealth or anything or happiness.
Well, and I guess this is also the potential of a generational question here as well, that maybe the younger generations are connecting better with a company like Hoka or like On Holdings more so than they are with Nike.
Exactly. So I think one thing that happens, especially with the brands that have been so strong for so long, there's a bit of complacency, right? And then you rest on your laurels, and then that's when the innovation slows down. And every time there's a new generation, you really have to earn that business and understand that culture. And I think that Nike needs to do a better job of that.